Welcome everyone. Today I'm diving deep into budgeting. Yes, the dreadful budgeting, the thing we all dislike doing, but unfortunately we cannot avoid this if we really want to keep ourselves on track financially. But where do you even start? So many types, so many rules, it almost feels like dieting. And why I say that? Well, when you do a simple Google search on dieting, you'll find so many results and so many types of dietings. There's keto diet, vegan diet, vegetarian diet, paleo diet, high protein diet, and the list is endless. You get overwhelmed and you end up doing nothing. Your dieting regime is over before you could even start. So like dieting, there are so much budgeting advices out there. There's no one right answer. Instead, there are a lot of different methods that ultimately achieve the same outcome. That is making us more aware of how we're spending our money and how we can get better at it. Planning and managing it well for our future self. Over the years, I've read so many personal finance and money management books and got to understand the different types of budgeting, and therefore I thought of making a condensed video on 10 of the most effective budgeting methods that I believe works. But which one should you follow? Well, you have to find it out. You have to watch the video till the end. And of course, I'll share the one that I use. So let's get started. First in the list is the itemized budget. This is the most detailed budget method and is perfect for someone who loves tracking every single cent. And this is how it works. Say you earn $5,000 per month. You list out every expense: rent, $2,000, groceries, $800, utilities, $500, entertainment, $200, and so on and so forth. Every dollar is accounted for. And the beauty of this is you get to see exactly where your money is going. A pro tip for this method: use a spreadsheet to simplify the process. But be prepared, it's time consuming but worth it if you really want the full control. I'll put the link in the description for my budget spreadsheet. Feel free to check it out. Next is spend tracking, which is less about planning and more on analyzing. If you have ever said, "Where does all my money go?" this one is for you. Over a month, track all your expenses. You might discover that those daily $5 coffees add up to $150 a month. Once you see these patterns, you can adjust your spending habits. Pro tip for this method: this works great as a starting point if you're new to budgeting because it highlights the hidden leaks in your finances. Now let's talk about the zero-based budget. With this budget, all your money should be accounted for. And by the time you next get paid, you should have nothing left in your spending account. Every dollar should have a purpose, and if it's not spent, it's going either to your savings or investments account. Say you earn $5,000 a month. You allocate $1,500 for rent, $500 for food, $200 for utilities, and $300 for other entertainments. By the end, every dollar has a purpose, and the remaining goes straight to your savings or investments. And this is something I practice. And this is not necessarily for starters. Once you're a bit experienced and you know your spending habits, I believe it's the best one. At least it's my opinion. I've benefited from this method so much. But yes, just because it works for me doesn't mean it'll work for you, right? You need to try and test and pick the one that works for you and the one that you can stick to. A pro tip for this one: this method forces you to think intentionally about every single dollar and align spending with your priorities. Next up is the goal-based budget. Are you saving for something specific? A holiday, a MacBook Pro, or even a brand new car? This one is for you. Imagine you want to save $5,000 for a dream holiday in 12 months in the Greek islands. That means you have to save roughly $417 a month. For that, you adjust your spending to meet that goal while covering essentials. And a pro tip for this method: set both short-term and long-term goals to stay motivated. Use visuals like a savings thermometer in your spreadsheet to track progress. You can also use your online banking goal setting feature to track it. Now, if you tend to overspend, the spending cap budget method is the one to go for. It's all about setting hard limits on your spending cap. This method, you're not worried about how much you have to save or invest or spend. It's all about imposing that hard limit of spending and stick to it. Let's say you've allocated $500 for discretionary spending this month. That's your cap. If you hit that limit, you're done spending for that month. This one works well with prepaid cards or cash envelopes to ensure you don't exceed your cap. Pay yourself first. The next budgeting method, it's all about paying yourself first. Well, most budget will start with your spending, and whatever is left over, we split between paying off debt and then savings and investments, right? This one is the opposite. This one is how much you want to save and you pay that amount to yourself first. Then whatever is left over, you spend that money. Let's say you earn $4,000 a month. You decide to save 20% or $800. So you pay yourself $800 first, and then whatever is left, that is $3,200, is what you budget for bills and spending. Pro tip for this method: automate your savings so you don't even see the money. Out of sight, out of mind, and your future self will thank you for that. Next is the envelope budgeting. Well, I'm not too sure in this era if anyone's gonna use that, but if you really want to do the old school way, probably you can check this out. This is a classic and an effective way of controlling your spending. For this, you withdraw the whole paycheck into cash and divide into label envelopes. $300 for groceries, $100 for gas, $50 for entertainment, and so on and so forth. Once an envelope is empty, that's it. I know my grandma was definitely using this method, but me, I don't think so. The next one is similar to envelope budgeting, but this one is bucket budgeting. It's the modern day envelope budgeting. Basically, you split your pay into different types of accounts through your online banking. The typical digital buckets are spending, savings, and investments, but obviously the numbers of buckets are only limited by your imagination. For this, you set up bank accounts or sub-accounts for different buckets: savings, bills, fun money, or whatever is your priority. For example, 50% goes to need or essentials, 30% to wants, 20% to savings. So automate these buckets, so whenever your pay hits your bank account, is automatically transferred to the digital buckets. Next is the 50-30-20 rule, a classic budgeting rule I've talked about several times in my videos. A simple yet powerful framework that works for everyone. It divides your income into 3 categories: 50% for needs, 30% for wants, and 20% for savings and investments. Let's say your take-home income is $10,000 per month. Using the 50-30-20 rule, here's how you'd allocate your money. 50% for needs, meaning $5,000 for rents, groceries, utilities. 30% for wants, meaning $3,000 for dining out, entertainment, travel, and whatever you wish for. And 20% for savings and investments. That's $2,000 every single month for your future self. This method ensures that you're covering your essentials and also enjoying life and still putting money aside for your future. What makes this rule so effective? It's flexible. You can adjust the percentage slightly based on your situation, but it gives you a framework to balance your spending and savings and not depriving yourself and yet empowering your future. Now, the pro tip for this is beginner friendly and gives a clear guideline without too much restrictions. And finally, the last budgeting rule for this video is the 30% rule. This rule specifically focuses on the housing costs, ensuring they don't eat up your budget. This rule tells you to keep your housing costs to 30% of your income or less. The idea is, if you keep your housing costs to that 30% mark, you'll have enough left over to do everything else without depriving much. So if your monthly income is $5,000, you'd aim to spend no more than $1,500 on rent or mortgage. So there you have it, 10 effective budgeting methods that you can use to take control of your finances. Remember, the best budgeting method is the one that you can stick to. Which one of this will you be using? Let me know in the comment section. And if it's helpful, I can also do a demo of my budgeting spreadsheet. Do let me know if you want that. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with someone you really care about. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.